Hello, everybody. I guess. Welcome to.
I guess,
Welcome.
yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Welcome to the Motion Design Hotline. It's a show where two people try to help you with your After Effects problems. That's what we're doing here. Today, we thought we would make our own problems. I don't think it's very different from our usual life. Hey, Umacord, what's going on? Put on my action hat here. Today,
hmm
Kyle, you have invited me to play the deadliest game.
Yes.
Um, which I'm told is called Effects Roulette, in which we will test ourselves here on live television to see
hmm
how this goes. Maybe tell the people a bit about the game and what we're going to be doing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the rules are very strict and definitely not being made up on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have this little script that my friend Zach Levitt wrote a couple years ago. And what it does is it applies one random effect to the selected layer.
Okay.
So the game is you click that 3 times, let's say, and then spend about 10 minutes figuring out what the heck to make with that. Um, so yeah, there's certainly some looseness here. If you get something that's like one of the audio processing effects or some weird component of a third party effect that one of us has installed that doesn't actually do anything by itself, whatever, we can just click it again.
Right.
So, but the whole point is just to kind of have fun with this and challenge ourselves to make something with whatever random combination the universe decides we should have.
That's true. Just gotta stay loose. Stay
Yeah.
loose out here. We're gonna ride the wave and try to instead of fighting the ocean. I hope this is an instructive lesson for people.
Yeah. So definitely like heckling is encouraged from us to the other person, but also from you in the chat. Suggestions are welcome and encouraged. And some of these will be interesting. Some of them will probably be complete and utter failures, and that's part of the fun.
Yeah. But if people want to play along at home, we've got links in the description to get that script if you wanted to do that for some reason,
Yep.
to subject this on your own friends in the Discord servers, so you can do that. Also in the description, you're going to find links to our archive, motiondesignhotline.com, for all of the things about this show. It's a good website. We made it ourselves. And
Can you tell?
could you tell that these guys made this in Notion one morning? Hard to tell. And then we've got, of course, friends of the show, plug and play. If you want 15% off, enjoy that. Use code Hotline15 over there. They got some good plugins. We won't be showing them on this show because, like we said, strict rules apply.
Well, one of them very well might appear.
Oh, that's true. Well, fine, because they give us kickbacks, we might use it. However, we should let's get this show going. We're already 3 minutes into it.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I will say, since you mentioned it here, there is indeed the link to this. I think, yes, this whole thing is kind of a silly, it's a gimmick for us to make something watchable without a whole lot of effort in advance. But what it is more is a challenge to yourself to expose yourself to the effects that maybe you've never touched,
Right.
which is a good thing to do. Like After Effects has hundreds of effects, and there's probably some in there that you've never felt a need to explore. And then one day you do something like this, and you're like, wow, advanced lightning is actually really cool. If you think about what it actually does and don't just use it to make lightning that one time a year that you need lightning. So a lot of the generative effects in particular, like, have some really cool uses if you dig into them. And we should also plug our good friend Jake Bartlett has an excellent series on YouTube where over 150 or 200 videos, whatever it is, he covered every single effect in After Effects and what they actually do. So highly recommend that.
He lived to tell about it. So that's something. So I don't know. Let's kick it off. We're going to do our inaugural coin toss here. I've got a coin from the Judge John Hodgman podcast, a great podcast if you like to hear people argue. We've got blindfolded Judge John Hodgman on one side, Bailiff Jesse on the other. Bailiff Jesse is a bald, so I guess I'll be Bailiff Jesse's side.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. Okay, it's Bailiff Jesse's side. It looks like I'll be going first today.
All right.
So yeah, you hook up a timer of some kind, and
I've got it ready. You just you say when. Let's maybe get your randoms on there, and then I'll start your time.
Right. Okay, and we'll start. I mean, I'm gonna start by putting them just on a solid. See if maybe it's gonna be something that we need to put onto some footage. We don't know yet. We're gonna find out. Okay, so script, add random effect, file, script, add random effect. Do it again. What do we got? Are these...
Go.
Well, what do we got? Well, I got something called oscillate random on here. Now, I don't know if these... Oh, that's doing something.
Okay, yeah.
CC slant is something. Actually, let's try to absorb these.
Yikes, yeah.
Individually. Yeah, dissolve master control. I don't think these two are actually going to do anything. Let's roll the dice again on this. But CC slant is doing something. That's... a thing.
One thing we found is that this is also potentially adding things that are like components of a bigger effect that maybe don't really do much on their own.
Okay, we got something called blend. So that's something. And scripts, give me another one. CC Kaleido.
Oh, you lucky duck.
Ringy dingy dingy. Give me we should have a bell that goes when you get something that's fairly normal.
I have a coffee cup and a ring.
Okay, perfect. Good. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so first off, I need to kind of assess what these do. So I'm going to just grab a grid on here just to really quickly. I want to see what happens when you do slant to it, right? So yeah, we're going to go, okay, yeah, it does what it says on the tin. It slants the thing. We can change kind of where the floor is that it's slanting around. Okay, that's doing something interesting at least. Okay, it's kind of like an artificial like skewing of the thing, which is interesting. Okay.
With a color control as well.
I don't know why I would want to do that to something.
Well, if you want to skew it and you don't want to add transform, I guess let's see what this. So it added the color on top of your solid.
Yeah, like it's just recoloring it. It's just filling whatever the thing is.
Interesting.
Maybe that's helpful to kind of see what it's doing. All right, so that's what CC Slant's going to do. Blend is asking me for another layer.
Yeah, you need another layer.
Right, so let's just go ahead and... So I know kind of... I'm going to need to lean on some footage for this. I think I'm going to need to go to the old footage bins. I don't know how many points that's going to lose me in the final tabulations, but we'll find out. This is when I like to visit the old free bin of Adobe stock. I'm going to help myself. Let's help ourselves to the absolutely abused shot of water here.
You're already at 7.5 minutes, by the way.
Oh, come on now. Brutal. I hope this downloads quickly.
Better keep assessing in the meantime.
I know, right? So I should keep thinking about what I'm doing. Now, if I was smart, I would just remember I've downloaded this like 10 times. Okay, so this is really just going to, blend between two layers, and that's it. And then CC Kaleido is just going to go absolutely buck wild with whatever.
Yeah, a delightful kaleidoscopic creator, which I'm super jealous that you got this.
Yeah. Hey, you might get it too. We don't know what happens.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think that's good. I think I'm happy with these. I know that if I'm going to be doing any kind of slanting, I want the slanting to be happening before the kaleidaing, because that's going to get me something interesting out of it. We're not going to be setting any color with it because that's strange. But yeah, I think we're off to a good start. Now let's go ahead and find
6.5 minutes.
Okay, great. Oh, the 6.5 to go.
Left. Yep.
Okay, good. Whew. I was getting freaked out before, but now I'm going to be very cool, calm, and collected with this.
Yep.
Okay. I don't want to cook up too much stuff, so I'm just going to take 2 copies of the same footage. So we are blend, slant, kaleido. Drop those on this first one. It's already looking beautiful. Okay. So let's take slant off for now, and let's blend with... You can just blend something with itself. Now, that could be interesting.
Probably.
Yeah.
And since you could do source or with effects, that gives you options.
Yeah, so let's say, you know what? It's not going to do a lot interesting blending with itself. So I'm going to blend it with its neighbor, but we're going to
Hmm.
maybe offset it in time. We're going to see if that blend with original. Okay. All right. So we're really just getting a crossfade between the two.
Hmm.
So crossfade color only. Take only the tinting of it. Take only the darkening of it. Take only the lightening of it. Okay. So let's try to do that. So we're going to get these. One thing is the lightening the other. Great. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to rotate this one. See if that's going to do much. Da, 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 da. Okay.
You're at about 445.
All right. So we're going to. Okay, let's scrub through, see if this looks like anything. Oh, because it's not taking into account
Yep.
the transformation of the other layer. Okay, so therefore we are going to go. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead.
That's a little lesson. Most effect dropdowns like that will not take transforms into account. So you need to use the transform effect or pre-compose the thing.
Yeah, so we're going to go with that. Maybe crossfade them
Cool.
on a darken. That's getting a little soupy. Let's go with the lighten. Here we go. So now we've got some symmetry happening, right?
Hmm.
Now, if we use the slant on this, yes, that's what I was hoping to see. So we're going to slant it like this. We're going to make the floor the kind of middle center of what's going on here. Where are you? There you go. Plunk right there. So the slant amount.
3.5.
Somewhat. Let's keep the height like that. And then CC Collide is going to do the heavy lifting for us.
Yeah, that's no fair at all.
With most of the stuff. So what do we think here? Flower, unfold. Yes, this is looking like a thing. Now floating center, no. Okay, we want to make sure that the center is
Oh, I like that.
actually here. So now we're getting actually something going on, and we can do some rotating. So we are gonna.
3 minutes.
Okay. So yeah, I was really hoping I was going to get black and white, but instead we get this. And then the size, I want to just push it out a little bit so that it's a little bit more simplified.
Hmm.
I'm pretty happy with this. The start of some titles for a True Detective-like spin-off.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we're gonna just tamp that down a little bit because we're rotating way too fast. There we are. So yeah, you know, or that what's that show, the German one that's on a boat, 18 something something. So
Sure. I've definitely heard of whatever you're talking about.
sure, whatever. It's got time travel.
You know, Kaleidoscope is just kind of an instant win here. I feel like it's a great way for like I'm glad that it surfaced here because it's a great way to just make some fun trippy stuff.
Yeah,
with
and
not a ton of trouble.
no, and I mean I'm over time, but if I
You're not.
oh okay.
Like a minute 45.
Okay, sick. So we're gonna drop curves on here, like this. You drop a hue sat before that. Crank that saturation down. We're gonna get very artistic around here.
Oh, fancy.
There we go.
1899. Is that the show?
There we go. That's what I was not thinking of very well. So yeah, and ooh, okay. And then what we did on here, we've got because we're really just creating kind of particles out of this, and this is
You have about a minute left.
yeah, I feel pretty vindicated with this. Now, one of the things
Same.
that we want to think about, right, is like how much does blend really bring into the mix here?
A little bit.
Yeah, somewhat. Okay, yeah, if we use lighten only, we can get a lot more juice out of this because what it's doing is basically bringing in like way more of these waves, which is what I was hoping to get from it. So there you go.
And of course, you could be animating some of those properties as they're being fed into the kaleidoscope.
Yeah, or just animating the Kaleido itself, because this thing here with its rotation, if we rack the rotation on this,
yeah,
right, we're
all
getting
kinds of fun stuff.
more of this contrapposto, etc. So let's just say like, yeah, that's getting almost abusive in its speed. Let's just woe the bus on that a little bit. Yeah, so there we go. We've created something that would take a particle simulator way too much time, but a little bit of footage, and we're there.
Ring a ding. Perfect. I think that was a tremendous first run, and I will definitely be able to meet those standards.
So here's what we want to do, Kyle. I did the work. We need you to apply some scores. We discussed briefly a scoring metric.
Yeah, that's the extent of the conversation. I will say
you've seen it all now.
Well, we neglected to introduce this game with our beautiful bespoke graphic, and also the fine Zach Levitt has joined us in the chat. So we should probably say an official hello and welcome and small round of applause for his terrible creation here that we're using to torture ourselves.
That's right. Zach, thank you for creating the show. And what show is that? Do. Yeah. This is a lovely
There we go.
intro,
I don't know how well our stuff. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. It's kind of small over our faces from what I can see, but that'll do.
Yeah. So yeah, scoring wise, Kyle.
Yeah. 5 points.
I was gonna say, like, I think category number 1 is the effects themselves. So did all of the effects are they noticeable in the final, right?
Yeah.
So that's category 1. Do we see those?
And I would say yes.
Okay. So, on kind of like on a 5-point scale, 0 out of 5 being we can't tell what you started with at all, and then the end of it being, 5 being, oh yes, we can tell exactly that each of them is in some way contributing to what's happening here.
I will say we should maybe dock you a point for not only having to use footage, which is necessary with some, but having to use 2 copies of it.
Well, that's true. Well, hey, save those critiques for the next proposed category. So, okay. So, I don't know. 4, you give it a 4 on the first?
Sure.
Okay. So, because honestly, I don't really see what slant is doing in here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's doing something. And like if you toggle it on and off, we'd probably see a difference, but I feel like we could live without it.
Yeah, it's kind of lost in the sauce.
That's not your fault at all.
None of it's
Slant's fault for not being as potentially useful in this case.
Yeah. It's like a less good transform. So, second category, Kyle, is outside help. The stuff that I had to bring that are not those 3 things. Obviously, footage is in there. Many copies of the footage. A few extra effects have been thrown on. Yeah. But I don't know. 0, obviously, you did it natural. You only needed those 3. Way to go. And, at the high end, you brought in, like, everything.
Am I supposed to come up with a number now?
Yeah. Where do we fall somewhere on that?
Oh, man. I mean, you had to use some other stuff, so I don't know what that means. But your additions, like the footage addition was necessary. Your other effects additions were really more for, like, polishing. And I think that's okay.
All right. Okay.
Scott has rated you a pi out of 5.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm going to give myself 3.5.
Yep. Yeah. And we encourage you watching to come up with your own, definitely not completely arbitrary scoring mechanisms for this game.
Well, that's true. Because as a third category, Kyle, I would propose, how how collided does this feel to you? I drew the CC Collida out, right? That's obviously going to make something visually interesting every time. But yeah, I would say on a scale of 0 being a dollar store kaleidoscope and 5 being, of course, those fancy kaleidoscopes made of gold and crystal, where do you find this on this kaleidoscale?
I mean, I kind of feel like most kaleidoscopes pretty much look the same, regardless of how expensive they were. I like that you were able to create something that does kind of look like, with a little more tinkering, you could probably create something that could be like a nice show open or something if you put some text over it.
Yeah, and like
so
a brooding
all the
detective.
kaleidoscope points, 5 out of 5.
Ooh, all right. May we all be as generous. There we go. I'll put the scores right here in the work file so that we don't lose them. So
yes, we definitely need to keep track of this for the future.
We'll put it in the wiki. People will know.
Yeah.
Oh, and Umakor gave me a 5 out of 5. That's nice. It's
perfect. Yeah.
But hey, we'll render these off. We'll probably put them on Instagram or Threads or Blue Sky or Twitter or Instagram.
Something, yeah.
We'll put
whatever exists tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. DuckDuckGo. We'll put these somewhere and we'll ask people to give them ratings because we must submit ourselves to the judgment of the people.
Yep.
Speaking of judgment, Kyle, we're going to tip it over to your screen now.
Oh boy. Well, I got to take the hat back off. This is too intense.
Gets too sweaty. This is sweaty business here, folks. Okay, let me get a timer going here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because otherwise it wouldn't be fair.
Exactly.
So I just made myself an empty shape layer. And just in case you didn't know this, you can just double click the rectangle tool and it will make it comp size. Easy peasy. I have this particular script mapped to a little button on my K bar, which is a tool I really love. So I can just go click, 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 and we'll see what I got. You let me know when that timer's ready. I can't even see the effects yet.
Okay, perfect. Well, timer starts now.
Okay, shift channels and 2 plexus things, which I probably shouldn't use. So let's see what else I get. Iris wipe, master controls, and color range. That iris wipe has to be something else. The master controls are really making me weirded out. Shift channels is nice, although not super great on something without color, so I'll need to change that. And this color range too. I don't feel like I'll be able to do too much with that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a thing that
smart blur. Okay. Yikes. Let me hit this one more time just to see what I get. Light burst. That's something generative, at least. I'm going to go ahead. I know I'm cheating a little bit with the amount of stuff that I took, but let me see what I can do here.
Don't worry, it'll only affect one of your scores.
Right. So, light burst. Oh, it is doing something there. Okay. If I really crank it up, I feel like I probably need to make this thing smaller. And yep. Okay. So I can make a nice light burst here. By cranking this up, ray length. There we go. So I could kind of generate something like this.
Okay, so it's basically taking the highlights and like blasting them off in a direction like you'd see from a radial blur of some kind.
Yeah, so that's a nice look. And even just by kind of like animating this point, I could give that thing some life. So we'll come back to that. I might be able to pull shift channels now. Let me see if I can like kind of change my base color. I'm surprised that's not giving me more. There we go. So I can kind of set the color there. So this is just kind of blowing out any color I was getting out of that thing because it's so overpowering it. So what if I give myself another channel, another color channel? How about red here? And that way when I shift channels, I will actually have like kind of something to work from, but shift channels is kind of like remapping colors to other things. So like I could do some really weird stuff here, but I don't know how effective that's going to be.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, there's maybe something here, especially because I do have access to a blur here. So maybe I can kind of
So like taking
pull
the
that.
alpha, turning that into color of some form.
Yeah. Let's see.
And what blur did you get? You got smart blur?
Smart blur. Yeah.
Smart.
Um,
Oh, here we go.
which honestly, this is kind of cool here.
Now something is happening.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, this is not a look I probably would have ever like thought to be able to make like this, but honestly, this is pretty neat. This has a very like old school like dithering probably isn't quite the right word, but very like old school computer graphics kind of look.
No, like yeah, like a Zork. This is some DOS art.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. And like because I was able to shift the channels, like that kind of created the harshness here. That's sort of cool. I'm gonna see what happens if I put another light burst after the end. See if I can like, there you go. Maybe kind of make it so it pushes back against this. This right here is kind of the whole point of this. Like, I wouldn't have thought to make this, but now like this is a pretty interesting little experiment. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this down enough to kind of get something that isn't killing that original effect too much, but that's cool. I would like to maybe add some color to this personally. So you know what? I'm just going to hit this again. Threshold. I wanted to get a color effect. Threshold's not really going to do much for us here.
Well, hey, you got 5 minutes. 5 minutes to go on the clock here. Ooh, I see some dithering happening.
Yeah. And then I could look at this nonsense.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, now you've upgraded to Windows 95, I think.
Why does CC Scatterize have this twist built into it? I don't even understand why that is a thing.
Look, for the same reason that ball action has it. People love twisting things, Kyle.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, because you're scattering and then you can twist. Like, look at this. I don't know if it's actually scattering in 3D space, but it sure looks like it now that I'm...
Well, does it have the... Does it have that little cube in it? Like the little...
No.
Oh,
so but doesn't this look like it's scattering in 3D space?
I think it is, yeah.
I think it is.
We just couldn't interact with it using a camera, is all, right?
Right. Oops, not gradient white. Personally, I wanted to add a like gradient over the top of this. I don't know that I'll be able to do this quickly without pulling a couple other effects, though, because I need to kind of composite that back over the top. Mm-hmm. And I would need a couple other things to kind of do that. But, I mean, truthfully, I like this. How much time do I have?
We're looking at 4 minutes.
Okay. I'm just going to animate this. Let's get rid of some of that other stuff because I kind of just like what I have here. So let's just kind of like animate this around a little bit and see what it does for us. What if I bring this around? It looks like a creepy
hallway.
Yeah, it does. What if I kind of center this up and kind of center this up, and then I can kind of maybe even just put like a little wiggle on this, and then do the same to that center property, and let's see what that does for us. Cool. That's a little fast for my taste, so I'm going to bring that way down and just see. It's very chattery, of course,
right?
But no, I'm kind of okay with that. We can go ahead and just kind of maybe make it move back and forth here, even with the wiggle involved. Like that will give it some overall motion, but there we go. Let's see what this does. I mean, on its own, it's not quite a thing, but I do feel like the look that is here definitely has some value for especially some of the kind of glitchy sort of style that a lot of people are into. This super like lo-fi computer graphics thing feels like it'd be really useful if you were trying to make like the computer screen from Blade Runner or something like that, you know?
I was going to say this is a good prog rock type music video. Call it The Lighthouse. Because this has...
Yeah.
Now, okay, so... Oh, yeah, because it's only square because your base shape is a square, right?
That's true. Yep. So I could absolutely even just play with the roundness in here and start creating all kinds of other things. That's pretty neat. I think like making some simple shapes and moving them around within the shape layer and then applying a string like this to it, I feel like that has some promise.
Now we're cooking. Now this is something.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you got about 1 minute left to go. Do your
Okay. Let's see. I feel like too. I don't think I'm getting it. One thing I might like to do to take this further is like feed some color into it before the shift channels. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that super successfully right now, and just kind of see. I mean, even just this is going to really affect the look considerably because I have all these channels mapped, like super cross mapped here. And that could be really interesting. But, you know, I'm happy enough with this as a thing. And I would probably tweak the keyframes some more just to maybe simplify the movement a little bit here. There we go. I like your little searchlight or lighthouse or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of wow, that's the gong, Kyle. We're out of time.
Okay. Tell you what, let me do this real quick just to change that. And then here's our final look. So we got some animating roundness in there as well.
Ooh.
I'm good with it.
Lovely. Okay, that turned out to look pretty darn cool. I like that we both ended up with black and white type things.
Yeah.
When in doubt.
Which you could then just apply color right over the top if you wanted to. Like, it wouldn't be too hard to put a gradient on here. But yeah.
Yeah, or maybe some layer styles, right? Like a gradient overlay that would override just color or something. All right, Kyle, we've come to that part where we need to score. We need to score this thing out of 5. So,
oh boy.
Starting with effects. I mean, they're all in there. Maybe
I did have to dig some more out.
Well, I mean, that's the second category, but let's talk about those original effects. Would you mind, just for the audience here, kind of toggle them off one at a time, like, and we'll see like how they interact with each other to make this?
Yeah. So here's the light burst.
Okay.
I mean, here's your base shape. It's just this.
Yeah.
There you go. And then here's the light burst, basically just making that kind of blurry, right? But in a specific direction, which is a very useful thing to have access to. So if you're not using CC light burst for this kind of stuff, do so. Shift channels was kind of an interesting inclusion here. Because we don't really have a lot of color to work with.
Yeah.
And I sort of changed the colors around after the fact. But this light burst is basically overriding the color so much that it kind of changed what we were working with anyway. That's why I was thinking feeding different colors in between these two would be interesting.
Yeah. So
shift channels is you're basically kind of like taking all your color channels and your alpha and like cross wiring them. Which does more when you have more.
Yeah, then the final like.
Yeah, that I would not have guessed that Smart Blur was going to do this. It's because I set it to edge only. If I did the other one, like it's kind of just taking it back to a very normal blur, and it's fine, but it's not anything too fancy. So there we go. That's overlay edge takes that original color information coming out of shift channels and then overlays this thing. But It's because I have a gradient already Smart blur is finding the edges of that gradient and turning it into these cool little lines.
So there we go. All right. So I don't know. I'm going to say like we can clearly see the impact of all of them. I'll give you 5 out of 5 for our first category. That sounds.
I'll take it.
Yeah. The second category, extra things. Well, you don't really need a lot of extra things.
Yeah, this one kind of made itself. I did add more effects on, but I felt like I kind of needed something that would actually do stuff. The light burst was an addition that I didn't have originally.
Oh yes, okay. Well, then I guess I'll have to give you. Just have to.
I'll take a little bit of a hit there. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4. Let's go 4 out of 5 on that one. And Kyle, what do you think your final category should be?
Retroosity.
Okay, yeah. Well, it doesn't seem to have too many totally outdated social values. It it does look like the cover of Zork or whatever, right? Like it's got that dithered
Yeah.
but it also has a kind of abstractness, right, that you would find in early video art because couldn't get that specific. Ugh. It's incredibly retro. Kyle, I'm gonna give you 5 out of 5. Scott,
well, you know what? If 6 out of 8 bits, I'll take it. I will also say you know what might be a good category next time we play this or for the next round. This isn't a word either, but revisit ability. You know what? I like this and I would like to come back to this and tinker with it and use it for something.
Okay.
So I think that's a pretty good metric.
All right. Yeah. Would you ever do this again?
Yeah.
We don't ask enough.
Are you happy you stumbled onto this combination?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it terrifies me. Throw it away. You've unlocked the lament configuration of After Effects. Folks, that's a Hellraiser reference. Ask your parents if you can watch that movie. So they'll say no.
Well, since we have no time limit, do you want to each do one more round of this? We'll probably run a little over an hour, but
yeah. No, I'll be really succinct on my next one. Okay, so here we go. Fire up another one of these. I'm going to start with a shape layer. That seemed pretty successful.
Okay.
Let's go ahead like that. Something like this. Okay, now let us apply some stuff. Next time I'll make a button. Ooh, that looks
that's
okay. Looks like I got something.
Oh yeah, I love that. I've been meaning to do something with that.
Oh, basic.
Is it called threads? Or sound effects don't count. You can
tint. All right.
Okay. Yep. Good old tint.
And what else we get? What are we getting? VR digital glitch.
You know what? So this is a good lesson. I'll start the timer in a second. All the VR effects are actually totally usable on just regular 2D stuff.
Yeah.
So this means you have a glitch effect built into After Effects. It's just intended for VR stuff, but you can totally glitch elsewhere.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start your time if you're going to play around.
Okay, let's do it.
Beep, beep.
All right. So, okay. So threads, let's examine threads a little bit here. Now threads is making
on that thread
a little underwater basket weaving for us here.
Mm-hmm.
The overlaps is pretty interesting, right? Because you can really grind it down like this or put it all the way up. Center cover shadow.
Nice pattern generator, basically.
Yeah. I'm going to take the texture all the way off, I think. And the shadowing is interesting. Because if you go shadowing all the way up, it looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like from, nothing to, oh, now there's shadow. These kinds of like thread generators are really interesting. So for example, if you're using a 3D program, some of the shader effectors would be something like this. Okay, coverage. Ooh, yes, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I don't particularly enjoy like threads, I don't find things that are threads particularly interesting, but let's try to go. Okay. Actually, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to link these together.
Yeah, I like that just as a stylized grid there.
Yeah, now especially because we're going to be able to do like this.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to go ahead and take the size of this, and we're just going to. You know what? I've been rewatching a lot of Star Trek, Kyle, and it occurs to
Yeah.
me that the threads effect got a lot of use as a kind of space grid. Oh no, we're trapped by this space grid. We've been trapped by a giant threads generator. Okay,
Not too far away from the holodeck if you make that yellow.
that's true, which we can do pretty quick. So hey, here we go. We're gonna just take a little trip into the old holodeck over here. Now,
Hopefully those characters don't come to life and threaten all of us. Wink.
why why do we even have the option to take the safeties off? What are what are we doing? Okay, so
Live a little.
it's true. Trying to live. Okay, so we can tint. Okay, I'm trying to do something with this tint.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So instead of going black and white, I'm going to go red to blue, and,
Cool.
and then we're just going to rock this down a little bit, just so that we're applying like a bit of so that the shadow is getting bluey
Yeah, I like that.
and stuff. So it's because usually tint is just used to a lot of people just use it to make things unsaturated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which not, I mean, that's a thing. That's definitely a thing you can do with it. And let's see if we make the shadow more pronounced. Yes. Okay. Now I think we're getting into
Yeah. Cool.
something. Oh, now
You could make like the metal. What's the word for that?
knurling? No,
Like the steel plates that have the texture on them.
that's true. It does have
Almost.
that kind of.
Yeah.
Looks like a fence. Okay. So, because what I wanted to do was to be sort of doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and also we now have our VR glitching. So now we're going to have some of that going on. And basically, what I'm going to do is we're going to make this kind of like like the screen pixels are getting a little nuts, right?
Yeah.
Because now that we have color involved, now I don't know where. Yeah, okay. So the VR digital glitch, it's digital, so color information is getting borked up.
Mm-hmm.
And so stereoscopic. Now these are mostly. This is mostly for a VR type of thing, but as you can see, it is
Right.
affecting what we have going on here. And the horizontal sort of field of view and vertical field of view is really just going to stretch. You can kind of see the underlying fractal that's doing that. Point of interest, what happens when we rock the rail on that? Not much that we can really observe through this. Okay. Point of interest scaling. Oh, hello. That's interesting. Now, that would, of course, be sort of corresponding with the two kind of lenses that this would be.
Mm-hmm.
Aspect.
I think that distortion twirly is probably going to be where all the fun stuff is.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Geometry, distortion rate, color evolution. That can do something. Subsettings, distortion rate.
In about 5 minutes, by the way.
Distortion rate. Oh, I thought it would have had its own animation. Oh my gosh, it has an X, Y, and Z component to the distortion,
Yeah.
Kyle. That's getting warpy. Okay, all right. Distortion evolution. Yeah, that's pretty chunky. But we're going to give that some time. Too much. Okay, let's bring that rate down. Maybe that'll. Oh.
Scott asks how it feels outside the fractal noise zone, and I will say good. That's part of one of the points of this kind of exercise is that it kind of makes you explore new things, and sometimes you find these really happy accidents.
Well, for me, it feels bad, but I don't like not having my crutch to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like Stereoscopic side by side. We're going to do that. That seems to be controlling the stuff. Okay, and I wanted to get this base thing doing something. And we're going to wiggle this.
Yeah. Does that direction, does that actually rotate the thing?
Good question.
Under threads?
So under threads, it's really just kind of going to rotate the whole thing. But what I do think I want to do is, yeah, let's get the coverage up just, yeah, I think it works better like that. Because what I'm trying to make is like a kind of a glitchy situation with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see if this helps.
Yeah.
Right, so. Okay, so now the colors aren't exactly right, but we can get a little bit more vapor wavy with them,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
I'm sure the compression on the stream is just fabulous for this too.
It's probably brilliant. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, like you get this kind of like matrixy situation.
About 2.5.
Okay. Well, now it's like Christmas. I don't know. I kind of prefer it kind of vapor wavy like this.
Yeah, I like having the two prominent colors visible.
Yeah. Okay, so then if we come down here into noise, let's bring some noise in. Not really seeing. Not really seeing.
Yeah.
Not really seeing the noise show up here. Noise strength.
Me either.
I mean, color evolution is interesting because it's providing this kind of back and forth. How about transform? What do we got on this? Okay, this is actually a pretty, I'll say, pretty advanced type of glitching that's happening.
Yeah.
With this thing. Okay, good. So this will definitely hurt people's eyes to observe.
About 1.5 minutes.
At this scale. Yeah, okay. I'm going to have to... Okay, let's go back into here. Subsettings, subscale influence. Ooh.
There we go. Oh, I like that.
It's getting a little bit more...
A little more restraint. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Though you can kind of almost see... I feel like I can see the pattern kind of repeating there.
Yeah, and it has to, right? Because we're in stereoscopic side by side. If we go monoscopic,
there you go.
It's going to be just. It's like someone's thrown water on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how it's distorting towards the top and bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Whew. Okay,
about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be satisfied with this type of glitchy behavior. Now, the idea behind such a thing, right, would be like, okay, I want to use this on sort of a computer screen. So if I had some text, I would say like this, and then let's get input mono. So we'll do this.
That's your time, technically. Yeah. That's cool. So quick thought. What if you set that as an adjustment layer?
Yeah, let's find out here. So,
because that may be really useful.
Now, where's that little?
Yeah, flip back to the switches.
My switches go.
And then just click the cookie. There we go. So you'd obviously need to, have like another version of the text or something, but like that's kind of a cool thing. This particular font isn't beefy enough to hold up to that, but
yeah. Where's my properties panel here? Let's go like this.
Like there, it's not legible right now, but I feel like there might be some promise there.
Yeah, I think what we got to do is we'd have to come into the threads here, right? And
yeah, kind of dense that back up for this. Yeah.
Now it's looking more like pixels.
Yeah. I really like it as a kind of sparse texture, but this is a cool application too.
Yeah. So there you go. We've got Evan's Evan's glitch please offering. So
Cool.
yeah, if we go through the various categories, we have, of course, can we tell all of the things are in play, all of the effects?
I'd say very much yes. 5 out of 5.
All right, give myself 5 out of 5 for that one. So we're gonna go 5, and then extra stuff. Not a lot of extra stuff coming in here.
I mean, you added text, but I don't feel like that was an essential component. That was kind of a bonus add. So
What do you think? Full marks,
I mean,
full 5 for that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You didn't need anything else.
And then finally, don't know. Yeah, returnability, I guess. I'll steal that. You know, for me personally, I would return to explore more of this VR glitching. Sorry, I think that bug I swallowed on my walk earlier is trying to crawl back out of my body. So, all right. But yeah, returnability. I think the VR glitch thing, there's a lot of stuff happening with that, right? That really, to really see like what is going on with that, we would have to.
It's a dense effect. There's a lot in there. And that's yeah, I'm glad you grabbed it. Or glad you got it, just because that's a good reminder that those effects are all available. Most of them are just duplicating things that are already, there, but there are a handful of them that are not otherwise available natively.
Yeah. So like here it is applied to footage. If people were wondering. So here is like color distortion, and we can push the color, same way a chromatic aberration would do.
Yeah.
Right, pushing that further off the axis, and we can evolve the stuff, and now we can get geometry on the X, geometry on the Y. I think it's interesting that like the things that are holes are going places, but the color, it's not those colored areas that are getting borked around. Like that's a separate type of thing, and like evolving the color is pushing us left and right. In this case, causing this kind of waggling. I don't know. There's a lot of... Right, okay, and this is transforming... Yeah.
I like, as a byproduct of it being VR, that you can get that real, like, edge, stretch, warping kind of stuff.
I know, it's interesting. Now, I'm assuming that, so the reason why these things are scaling in such a weird way is trying to line it up with... Okay, there we go. We have to really... pinch down on some of these. Oh, sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm getting lost in the sauce here.
See, it's fun. That like revisitability extremely high.
Okay, good. So I'll give myself top marks for that.
Yeah. Is that a perfect score, judges?
Our first full 15.
There we go. Okay. Unfortunately, it's 15 out of 100.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Okay, Kyle. We got time for one more round.
Okay.
Please apply your effects. And
okay, so boom, boom, boom. Let's see what we've got. Something useless, and a third-party thing I can't use. Okay. So boom, boom, boom. Radial fast blur. That'll be similar to what I just had. That's okay. Venetian blinds, yes. And three-way color corrector. Is that... It's yelling at me here. Because it's old, not optimized for multi-frame. Well, we'll see what we get.
Yeah.
So radial fast blur, as I said, is going to do very much like what I just had. It's kind of a slightly simplified version of that. I almost want something different just because it's too samey. Okay. What do you think?
Does or should I just have hold on, I could just open it in front of me.
Yeah.
Nothing prevents CC radial fast blur. Well, it has the different zooming, right? Brightest and darkest.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
there's something in
maybe,
there.
you know what? I can actually like take advantage of the color this time.
Right.
So let's use that and kind of take advantage of it. So it could be a challenge to do something different. I love Venetian blinds personally
Okay.
because it's such a great way to kind of just set something like this. And oh boy, this makes me want to have like, I think I'm going to use the fast blur on top of this to like see what I can push around inside there.
Clever
Yeah, there we
Devlin
go.
pointing out some
Yeah,
Phoenician blinds, and I don't know what a Phoenician
yeah.
blind would be.
Let me kind of bring this thing back to the middle.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this smaller, and then get this centered up. I need to kind of offset this a little bit. There we go. I think, yeah, I think there's going to be something neat here. I want to, there we go. I want that offset just a wee bit. Okay.
It's like you're making some fancy gobos that would be
Yeah.
washing over a detective while they're interrogating someone.
Yeah. Kind of, I have a feeling the base colors are going to play a big part in this one. So I'm kind of trying to give it like some purer colors so that I can manipulate those better with this color corrector. But I mean, I feel like this is essentially the look I'm going to be able to create. I can change the direction here. Though I do kind of wish, I don't think I want to feather that at all. I would like to have that a little more like centered up, but I don't think I'm going to get that. It's kind of cool though.
Oh, Kyle, and no pressure, but we are now being simulcast out to the main feed over on Adobe Lightroom.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome to our very
no
professional show, everybody.
Yeah. You know what? I did basically the same random thing at the After Effects booth at NAB, so I'm okay with it. Boy, let's see. This is a super dense color correction effect that I definitely have dug into before. You know, hey, I'm liking this. I can probably just work up here. Let's see. You know what? I am going to take advantage of masks here because I think I might be able to get some cool stuff dealing with that. So I'm going to set that mask under compositing options. You can use specific masks for specific effects.
Right.
That way I can get kind of a split here. And I think that might be a cool thing to play with. So I have my base colors and then a shifted versions of them. I'm going to not show my layer controls. And let's just kind of like really, let's just tinker with the colors here and see what we get.
Okay, and I will, I'm going to give you your 6-minute warning here.
Okay.
6 minutes. And good people, if you're just joining us, this is a show where your hosts have to apply 3 random effects and then make something good out of them, good in quotes.
As a way to explore all of the cornucopia of effects that exist within After Effects.
Right, the plethora of effects.
Plethora.
It's a myriad effects. No, there are
I like this.
Myriad effects. I don't know how to use that word.
I mean, I think there's something here. I'm just going to kind of make that spin and maybe tinker with this, and I feel like I'll be happy enough.
Zach says, with you two, it's more like a cornucopia.
I don't get it. That's a very meta sort of joke, I think. All right, so I'm just going to let that rotate like this, which already creates kind of an interesting thing. You can kind of see the base shape back there,
right?
Which is kind of interesting. Just out of curiosity, what if I duplicate this? I liked it better before, truthfully, but what if I bring this down just so, there we go. I'm softening that base shape a little bit more.
Ooh.
And it kind of gives us a little bit more, it's still pretty prominent. I kind of liked it this way. What if I rotate the base shape in the opposite direction? Grabbing that little time expression here, and let's find that in the transform property. And I'm just going to times minus 50. And so now we're rotating the shape and then rotating the Venetian blinds here. There we go. I'm digging that. And I like my sort of little cross color situation that's going on. I wonder what would happen if I feathered that out. Might be cool, might not. I don't know. You like the hard line or you like softer?
You know what? It's really interesting. Like that hard line makes it appear 3D, like it's a hole in something.
Kind of does, yeah. We'll leave that. We'll leave that nice and hard edge there.
Scott's got a balance. Good. Thanks for being with us, folks. What do we got here? We've got 3 minutes left on the clock, Kyle.
Oh man. I almost want to kind of like bounce this. Speaking of bouncing.
Ooh.
What do you think? Yeah, I like that. So let's just wiggle that real slow and then a lot, like 200 here. And let's see what it gives us. Mostly not enough. Okay. So let's make that a little faster. Maybe, no, still 200. I just may need to kind of set it in the middle here. I mean, it's not quite the behavior I want. Let's manually keyframe that a wee bit so that I can kind of get some crispness. I probably don't want it to go down to 0, but I like 100's the max. That's the issue.
Here's your problem.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we've got here. Just with that little couple keyframes. It's a little faster than I like there. You know what? The wiggle's not really doing what I want. I don't think I would want that to come down more than like about 50, honestly. Still need something. So let's just kind of repeat those keyframes real quick, just so that we kind of have some bounciness in that thing. And then it can kind of breathe back and forth there. Yeah, I think I'm happy enough with what's happening here. How much time do I have left?
You have 1 minute 30.
Okay. I don't really know what else I might do here. Let's dig into the stroke that I had, right? Yeah, because that's having a tremendous impact here. That's the thing. I'm just going to animate that stroke width real quick and kind of let that thing really bloom. And I think that'll be kind of more or less where I'll end here.
All right.
See how that feels.
Some kind of, I don't know, almost, I don't know, let's say like VJ graphics out here, like some.
Yeah, kind of. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe needs a little more love, but I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's interesting. So on the radial blur, what do you have it set to currently? Like brightest, darkest, regular?
Yeah, I have it set to standard.
Okay. What does it look like on the other ones, I wonder?
Really super crisp, but I love how it like bleeds into the cuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And then darkest. Oh, that's kind of neat. Like I like how it has like the Venetian blinds has one hard edge and one soft edge.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? What if I make a quick duplicate of this thing and set this one to darkest and then like, I don't know, multiply this or something. I don't know. We'll just kind of see. I mean, I think there's probably some cool play to be done here with blending modes and stuff, maybe. Almost, creating something like you're putting a piece of some glass strips over this or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I maybe like the original better, but
I like it when it really blows out. When it returns back to the almost original shape, it's like, it's not as exciting as when it's
right.
like blurry and like
I
lights
agree.
going places. And it has kind of a like a cyberpunk
Hmm.
feel in the middle that you would find like this would be like a sign that's behind someone as they're doing something else.
Yeah, like you really need to keep this pretty high because if it gets even below 80, it's a little unsatisfyingly too identifiable.
Right.
But keeping it up a little higher here, you do have a nice abstract thing going on. And I didn't, I could totally like have evolved the width of these
Mm-hmm.
blinds as well in here for another batch of variety.
Perfect. Well,
But
we must
yeah.
score this thing, Kyle. We gotta put some scores on.
Okay. Um, what's our first one?
Category one, original effects, some original
Yep.
flavor. So how? I mean, I think they're all there, right? We can
I
click.
think so. Like I clicked it a few more times because I got some third party things and whatever. But this is what I got basically.
Yeah, and like we can clearly see blinds and
Mhm.
color correcting
And the
and
radial
blurring.
blur.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think 5 out of 5. All effects present and accounted for. They're all doing.
Okay.
They're all contributing to the final image, right? Is
Yeah. I'll take
what
that.
we want to say. And then extra stuff. I don't think you had to bring in anything that wasn't like
No,
I'm not seeing no footage had to be brought in, no extra effects really. It's
I
all
did. To be fair, I did animate the base shape a little bit
yeah.
and like used a stroke and stuff like that. So
I mean, if you want to penalize yourself, we can say 4 out of 5 on.
okay,
We'll do
I
that.
will.
Okay. And yeah, Kyle, what should your final category be?
Um, trippiness.
That's
Kind of
true.
stacking the deck here.
You know what? Because it has those periods where you can kind of see what the thing is.
Yeah.
I'd give you 3 out of 5 on trippiness.
Wow. Okay.
It is a trippy thing, but I mean, it by itself would not cause someone nausea, dissociative episodes, or to veer off the road. So, yeah, I have to go 3 out of 5 on that. I'm afraid. It'd be
Yeah. Let me try this and now see if it.
okay. Well, now
No,
we're getting
sir. Now we're getting
yeah,
nauseating.
this is getting good. All right, I'm going to stick with my guns though. What happened in
Yeah.
time? We're going to say 3 out of 5 on that. I don't know. What?
It's a fair score. I definitely didn't keep track of any of the numbers from earlier, so I assume that you won overall, but I don't know.
Well, it was mostly CC Kaleido one. I think if we had to give a post mortem, I'd say I got pretty lucky on the effects that I drew down on.
You know what? You know who really won here is all the viewers who learned cool stuff about some effects that they might not have previously thought to look into,
That's
right?
true. Yeah. So hopefully everyone out there watching feels like a winner. And we'll be back. We're back here next week, the 17th, for more winning.
Well, we're back on Adobe Live on the 17th
That's true.
for reals.
So we'll be doing that's our faux 3D show. So we will be faking it while we're making it. So it's going to be an amount of fake 3D stuff. Personally, I'm making a kind of a 3D car rig, kind of a face that's going to turn around using shape layers. We're going to not, well, I'm not going to, it's not going to turn all the way around. It's just going to turn somewhat. And then this is fake 3D people. Let's not pressurize ourselves too much. And some tunnels. So that's what I've kind of got on deck to show off. Multiple forms and variations of going down tunnel. So we'll see.
I could not tell you what I have prepared. It's a secret.
Yeah. But you know it's going to be you know it's going to be fake. You know it's going to be two-dimensional. But that's what we do here on the program. So I would say if people want to learn more about the show and the stuff that we do, go to motiondesignhotline.com. You'll find links there to send us questions, to get our various project files, to watch old episodes that were archived on YouTube, going way back to the start of the project. Yeah.
You can, of course, buy hats if you want hats.
That's true. You can buy a cool hat if you if you want to look good. You want to join. If you want to be a motion design hotline hottie, then get yourself a hat.
There we go.
And
we need at least one.
Sure. Make the enterprise worthwhile. Does it ship to Europe? I think it ships all over the world. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll look into that. Right now, it's only set up for USA and Canada, but it's should be able to.
Perfect. So I guess that's it. I don't know, Kyle. Any other announcements while we're here?
I don't think so. Yeah, thanks for watching. This was fun for us. Hopefully it was enjoyable to watch us struggle through doing this. Again, if you want to subject yourself to this, you can download the script made by our friend Zach Lovett. It's in the description for this video. And challenge yourself to play around with some new effects.
Yeah, and also, I don't know, check out a lot of the work that Zach is doing. It's very interesting stuff. It's a very high technical level that you'll see. So, but he publishes a lot of case studies about what they're doing. So it's worth going to that. What is that? Loveit.co, I think.
Sounds right.
That sounds about right. Awesome. Well, until next time, folks, we'll see you around the internet. But stay creative, be kind to each other, and we'll see you here next time. I guess bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And now this is where I find the button.